Right. All right. Good evening, everyone. Please confirm that you can hear me. Let's get other people to comment in. All right. Uh, good evening, everyone who is joining. Good evening. It's 7 p.m. Nigerian time entirely. Okay, let's do this. I trust that we have been good from our last month session. Um, let's do this. All right. Okay, send this to your friends. Send this to everyone you know around you. We're live. We're live right now. Welcome to this month's webinar from Gradshift Circle. Welcome, everyone. This month we will be considering what we call world-class mindset, developing world-class mindsets, right? Excellent habits that prepare you for work. So if you are just coming in, please share this link with your friends. Let's share this. Let me also push it again to our broadcast, so that we can have other people coming in. Now live and direct. Doing this. Okay. Yes. Coming up gradually. We have only 1 hour today, so let's see how we can maximize that. In that sense. All right, welcome everyone. If you are just joining, send the link to folks just joining in. Okay, so we will be doing this right away. Waiting for other people to join in before I start this fully. So I don't want anyone to lose how do you say it? I don't want anyone to miss out. I don't want anyone to miss out. So let's see. Let's have more people joining while we sort of like prep the ground for everyone. All right. Okay, yeah. Coming up in gradually. Remember to send this to your friends, send this to the people currently looking for offers. Send this to student community, send this to church communities. A lot of people are praying for stuff, but they do not realize that one of the ways God answers people prayer is by connecting them to events, connecting them to people, connecting them to platforms, right? That sort of like help them what's the word? Maximize, to give them the information required, to maximize. So please share the link. Share the link. All right, let's get it started. It's 7:04 already. One more minute, and we wait for some more people to join. Welcome to Gradshift Circle. One of the things we plan to do in Gradshift Circle, our typical mission statement is to turn young minds into industry leaders, and we do that by supplying coaching for academics first in school, coaching for academics, and then also we do that by supplying career coaching as well. We do business coaching. We have a host of coaches who sort of like help students, prepare students, fresh graduates. The plan is to be with an average student between was it how do we say it, between 100 level to their first second job or their first second business. That's give like a span of about 5 to 6 years. So that's sort of like the idea. So it's quite an ambitious initiative, especially for underserved students. So what we found out was there are a lot of people who are not as privileged as some other people. So one of the things we're trying to do is to make sure that the information that is already baked into somebody's environment as a result of their where they were born, the family they were born to, the country they were born to into, um, the school, the school that their parents could afford, which then granted them leverage or privilege. We are putting all of those things together and teaching and coaching, right? Basically, so that nobody typically has like any excuse. Yeah, welcome, Deborah. Welcome. All right. All right. So I think we can just jump into today's session. And we quite know a lot of people. We've seen from the last month session around bridging using academic excellence to bridge to your first role. We got quite a number of reviews, and they were taking that again into this and sort of like making it make sense again all over. So I think the first thing I'd like to say is for those of us who are currently online, I'd like to meet you. Where are you listening from? Are you a graduate? Are you still in school? Are you looking for, or are you looking for a job? Just introduce yourself to us so you can tell us, okay, for example, fresh graduate, 1 year experience, or you can say, oh, I'm a student, I'm in 500 level, then Lagos. So give me your what you currently are, then your states, are you currently serving, and then your location. So let's quickly have that for the first 3 minutes before we go in deep dive. It'll be good to sort of like meet us, those of us who are currently online. I know some of us are going to re-listen to this, especially within the timeline that we put it up for public view. So let's see those of us who are currently online, who are you, where are you listening from as well? I see a couple of us online right now. So hello. I'm waiting for your comments to come in. All right, so I have Zainab. Zainab is in 400 level. She's currently studying statistics, and she's currently in Lagos. Fantastic. All right. Oh yeah, I remember. I think I saw the name you registered when you came in. But welcome, Zainab. Welcome, Zainab. Yeah, a couple of us are still online. Don't worry. Don't feel free to let us know who you are and where you're listening from. It'd be good to sort of like have an understanding of how many of us are here. A host of other people will still join us later. So let's get it rolling. We have just about 50 minutes left. So let's see how we can maximize that. Anyone else want to introduce themselves? I'd like to meet you. Okay. I have Alamide. Alamide says I'm currently serving in Lagos. I'm a software engineer. Fantastic stuff. All right. While others come in, I'll sort of introduce you when I see when you posted it. All right, let's go. So I remember, and I always like to tell this story. I didn't have a lot of opportunities. I found out that some people had later in life. It was later that I was finding out that I didn't have a lot of opportunities like some other people. So I'm the first child, for example, and I grew up in a part of Lagos where some people can call the slums or something, right? Like hood in that sense. And what that meant is you could only go to educational institutions around those places. My parents tried their bit. They tried their bit to send us to as good school as much as they could. However, that's mediocrity sort of like followed me, followed me all through till I got to higher institution. Of course, when I say mediocrity here, I'm talking about way of thinking, way of like doing life. I was in my WIC result. I had all C's, 1B and 1D. So this mediocrity mindset followed me, showed in my results. I wasn't this super kid. I was just one of those. Yeah, it's not doing bad. It's just there. That kind of those kids that when you can't really say this is anything special about them. Just a random. I would call myself a random kid. However, something changed between when I was about to enter into school, and when I got admission. And I would call it some form of coaching or mentoring. So I was privileged to attend a tutorial where, aside from teaching us and preparing us for what do you call it, for jam or post jam and all of that, one of the things they did on the side was to coach us, to mentor us, to talk about principles, talk about all of those things. Like, so imagine I'm coming from a background where I didn't know all of those things. I didn't grow up in an environment of books. Like, you can see a lot of books. Okay, I don't know if you can see. There's a lot of books in my shop right now. Like, I didn't grow up in those kind of environment. Teachings. Wisdom was not really sought for in the environment where I grew up. Right. We saw the people who are wise or who spoke wise words as super. So it wasn't around in that sense. So, well, I got to this tutorial, and apart from the jam lesson and all of that, I saw. I don't know if you can hear me. Oh, can you guys hear me loud and clear? Am I clear? Is this clear? I need to be sure that we can all hear me loud and clear. Oh, I'm loud and clear. Fantastic. All right, good, good. So, as I was saying, welcome. I see an acute Florence, Lagos. Oh, okay, Florence. Nice seeing you too. Then Cherish Richard, 400 level studying Greek economics in Delta State. All right, good one. Good one. Good one. Good one. Good one. Good one. So, like I was telling my story, then all of a sudden I found out that okay, some of the things. So one of the things that I like when I was growing up, I did not know a lot of. I did not know how to get there, but I knew what I did not want. What that means is when I saw somebody who could buy something that I really liked, and my parents could not afford it, I desired it. My parents have said you cannot steal, children of God, that's what they told us. So but I desired it, but my question was always, how can I get this? How can I get this? How can I change my state? I want to experience that, right? So how did that person get it? How come they have so much money? How come they have money and they can buy this? How did this person even buy a car? All of those kind of questions. I usually ask that as a kid. I didn't know how all of those things going to happen, but I knew what I didn't want. I knew that I didn't want to end up in the slum. I knew that I didn't want to end up as a garage boy, but I didn't know how to get to where I was going to. I had no idea. And if you're here right now and you are feeling like that you have where you want to go to, you have where you want to end up, but you don't know, like, your how is not clear yet, right? In that sense, I think I will tell you, you are in the you're in the right place, because we all went through that phase of trying to find out, like, what will I do in my life? What's the next thing? Why am I here? I want this, but I don't know how to go about it, right? So during that phase of, I will call it like an incubation, something that I call a mind shift began to happen. Like, they began to tell us about, that was when I started hearing, I'm excellent. I can do it. Like, I just started hearing stuff like that. Oh, you know, I'm like, me excellent. They told me that I'm an average student now. Why, which one is excellence? Ah, oh, really? I can pass that post jam. Then all of a sudden, I started seeing. So in that tutorial, they used to reward most excellent students, like people who do well and all of that. Like, this boy, this is the guy that had 350 in the mock exam. How did he do it? Like, so all of a sudden, I started getting close to some of these guys, and I started asking questions. I really liked them, even though their reality was far from my reality. Me, we are the 180 guys, 200 guys. Imagine what people are getting 350, 400, and all of that. So I'm somewhere just bad. I'm not poor. I'm not a lodo, but I'm not still there. If you get what I'm talking about, right? And looking back, I'm looking back and I'm like, thank God for those change, that phase, because it was from that phase I figured out how to become what I need to become, to attract and to create a flow or a map to where I'm going to end up. I'll say that again. It was from that I figured out the principle. So what had happened? What had happened was, aside from them teaching me how to pass my jam and all of that thing, another thing that was happening is that they were helping to change my mind. They were helping to change how I thought. They were helping to change how I saw just by telling me and me believing. Now, a lot of us in this part of the world don't know the full extent. We have been told, you might have heard it, maybe your pastor said it or your imam has said it at some point, about the impact of our mind, our mindset in the outcomes of our life. But you might not know how far that really impacts you and I, which is one of the reasons why this topic today that we will call world class mindsets, how to develop excellent habits that prepare you for work and, business. What I found out. So, like I said, also, too, I don't know if you've seen my bio. I've been working in what people call HR for 5 years now, aside from my previous experience, managing products, people, process, and all of that. We found out that if what you don't start now, what you are not right now, if you don't start correcting it, it won't just self-correct. Like, what do I mean? If a student was diligent in school, chances are, I'm not saying it's equal to, I'm not saying it's correlation, chances are that they will be serious with their work. They'll be diligent at work. Chances are. If a student was excellent, if it was excellent, chances are that on his work, he or she will perform excellently. Now, whether it is academics or work is not the subject, but there is a frame of mind, right? There is a frame of mind that makes excellent people excellent. So that's why, for example, when people like Shell, Mobile, when they are doing what we call graduate training, they only take, for example, they'll say, oh, you must come out with first class and all of that. Then they now take those people and now retrain them all over again. Why do you think is that? Because they believe that for you to have been able to push yourself, for you to have been able to get a good 2-1 and all of that, you will have the free mind to be thought. So today, I'm telling myself I'm having maybe 5 certifications, or how many do I have now, sir? The ones that are recognized internationally, I think about 4. Then other ones, there. Then that you're on a growth path. You had a first class. You want to take a Harvard course. Like you can already see the trajectory that yes, you are not Elon Musk, but your reality is changing. And that's what we found out that a lot of students suffer from as they go on. Like some people they're not working on the habits or the mindset that will take them from where they are to where they should be. And it really doesn't start with, it doesn't start with, how do I say it? It doesn't start with what you need to do. It starts with first with who you are. So, and that's why really this message will really resonate with you if you don't have a lot of leverage. Now, what do we call leverage? I don't know if you saw that trend on Nepo babies and Lapo babies. I don't know, did anybody see that trend and all of that? Some people are by leverage, by birth, by their parents, by leverage, they will have certain access that some of us, you don't and will not have now. The way for you to meet at that platform of life is through other means. Because, for example, maybe your parents didn't have as much, privilege, money, access, and all of that as these other people, right? So you need to look for your own superpowers, as it were, your own leverage point. And one of the things that we're talking about today about this world-class mindset is, if as a student you begin to develop this, if as a fresh graduate, I mean, you went to a school that all you were doing was just all those courses that nobody is using in this life right now, all those things you are going up and down this, I'm saying, in spite of all of those things, I'm telling you that you can still change, you can still become the type of person who will attract world-class opportunities. Somebody type out world-class opportunities. World-class opportunities. So before you think about world class opportunities, before you say, oh, I want this, I want that, the first question is, do I have the mind frame or the mindset of the type of person that these world class opportunities attract? So, and this is not aspire to Maguire. I'm going to show you how. It's not to think it, believe it. It's not that. Because if you understand how life works, the more you understand how life works, the better the probability of things getting better. So, for example, you cannot remove the place of opportunity, like leverage, or in terms of who you know in all of this thing. It is not the only factor, but it's a point of factor. So, even if you were not born with it, as you go on in life, the requirement will be placed on you to begin to develop that type of leverage, because there are certain places that will not open up to you, that the only key that opens up is who you know. So you can be first class, you can be very good, but the what opens it is now who you know. But for some people, they already had it at birth. So let's quickly go deeply into what are some of the world class mindsets that prepare you for work. And this is coming from experience, this is coming from reading, this is coming from sitting over 5,000 hours with candidates, this is coming from coaching, this is coming from I'm in the markets, like I have hands on, I know what's going on, right? So let's see how far we can go, right? And this 1 hour session is basically just to help introduce some of these things. We have premium classes where we teach students this, where we help students to come into it. And really, at this point, it is more about you having a, what do we call it? You having a commitment to do it, a commitment. So the fee we charge is more like your own discipline, is you disciplining yourself, right? In that sense. So we'll talk about our premium classes and what it covers. So what's one of the first thing as a person who is just leaving school, as a person who's on their first job, you're currently serving, what are the mindsets that prepare you for work? What are these traits that you look back at yourself 5-6 years and you find out that, oh, I became this, I became this, I became this, and that is one of the reasons why certain things automatically are happening. So it is first a becoming. There's a type of person you must become before you are now doing things. Most people want to do things first before they become. So it is first a becoming. So number one, that is is a world-class mindset that you must hold as a key, is your capacity to learn anything. That mind that you can learn anything. And listen to me. I know you are listening to me from your phone, on the phone, like your capacity to learn anything. You must hone it. Now, don't limit yourself because of what you studied. One of the persons I really like to listen to is Dr. Miles Monroe. And in my early days of listening to him, he had said that you take education around potential. I'll say that again. You take education around potential. So it is what is inside of you that should point to the type of learnings that you should take. But reverse is the case in this climb, where people they just choose anything. Now, what that means when we talk about your learning capacity, your capacity to learn anything, what that means is, if you can become the type of person that is malleable and flexible enough to learn any and everything, you have increased your leverage chance. Don't tell yourself that, oh, I studied this, I'm like this, so this thing doesn't apply to me. For example, there is AI rave, there is the digital wave, there are things happening in several industries. The reason why some people are not interested is because they feel like, what did I want to? I don't know it. Like, why should I? I don't know it. Now, the excellent global mindset that passes at all levels, whether you are in Europe, whether you're in Nigeria, whether you're in Switzerland, is the capacity to learn and become anything. And in school, one of the faults of our current educational system is they box you to become what you are not. And two, there's no flexibility to learn, to grow that capacity to learn anything. So if you can hone your capacity to pick an area of interest and go into it and learn it, which is the reason why some of the disciplines you have as a student play out. That is why for some people, you will find out that they are done 20 years, 30 years on a job or on a type of role. Their capacity to change is zero. Because while they are waiting and going to church, praying for promotion, pouring anointing oil and all of those things, their capacity to learn something new, to become a type of person in terms of knowledge, in terms of skills, in terms of attributes, in terms of tools, their capacity to change and learn is very, very slow or not existent at all. So naturally, the students or the young man or woman who leaves school knowing what it takes to learn anything. And I'm not talking learning anything anyhow. No, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this. No, I'm talking about structured learning in a way that you are able to come out with a skill, that you're able to come out with a mindset, that you're able to come out with a knowledge, you're able to come out with a behavior. That type of learning, once you put it in any field, it becomes a super mindset for you. That is why you must be exposed. You must put yourself in situations that make you continuously learn. If you don't have this mindset, you will not be part of the A players on a team. There are more around this. We teach it in our premium class, and I think we had mentioned this on the last webinar. We have not started taking students, but we already have interested people already. For the premium class, for example, we plan to charge a token of 5,000 naira. Now, what that does is, if you sort of understand the time taken to get coaches to come and teach and to come and show you how to handhold you, right? You will know that 5,000 is not worth their 1 hour. And one of the things that happen in those premium sessions is you get to ask me any question from academics. Some people, how did I come out with first class? Me that I said I had C7. How did you do first class? Like, those are places to answer those type of questions. Oh, okay, you studied physics. Right now you've done project management. You have done process management. Right now you are doing people, right? And all of that. How do you get to a point that you're able to change and switch? Now I'm interested in strategy. I've done customer support. I've done I'm reading about VC, venture capitalists. Like, how do you? Maybe you said you study physics. That is what we're talking about. That capacity to bend, to change. There's a book called Range. One of the things that the author teaches in Range is our capacity for breadth. And you see, that is why if you have gone to a very brilliant university that is very intentional about you, they try to make you learn a lot. They try to spread you. Now, the mediocre university grades you by whether you passed A, B, or not. The excellent university is saying we need to create an environment so that the genius, the critical thinking capability of these students will unlock, and they can become problem solvers as they move on, whether as entrepreneurs, as intrapreneurs, as business owners, or people who become industry leaders in their field. So your capacity to learn is not beans. It's that capacity that is the rate of change, what we call the rate of change. How fast you can change, how fast you can become, how fast you can grow to learn something new that is not never existed before in your makeup, how fast you can update yourself. that you can switch industry regardless of what you were told your background is one mindset you must have in order to prepare you for the world of work. If you are with me, type 1. Let me know if we're still together. I see some people dropping in, coming off, dropping in, coming off. If you are with me, just type 1. All right, let me see. Just type 1 in the chat. Okay. All right. Now, the next mindset you really want to work on as you enter into the world of work, as you are your first role, the next mindset is your ability to talk, your ability to write. So first, an ability. Now, your ability to communicate both in writing and in speaking is very paramount to the level of progress you will make. Now, let me put that well, because somebody's asking, what about somebody that did not go to school? And I know that Baba, he just does this. He has somebody that does that, and they're able to make money. Now, what you think is, when I say the ability to write and talk, immediately you are thinking essay writing. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Now, because one of the ways we enter opportunities, maximize opportunities, initiate relationships and all of that is communication. So communication is your bridge between what is in you and what the other person hears. Aside from your actions, your words are the first interface of how we can grade your thinking, your thoughts, what your paradigm is. It is not the only metric, but it's one of the major things. So for example, when we are interviewing people, one of the way they are able to express themselves in talking and writing sort of shows us where this person is. The way they're able to present their ideas, the way they're able to present their thoughts. And this thing can be developed. So one of the things you should have left university with is increased vocabularies. So if you already have a master ability to write and communicate, which should be the heritage of every student who has gone to a university, who studied in college. If you have that, you have a lot. What you now need to do, because that thing that you have is gold at work. In an age where now we now have people can run things through AI and all of that. Now, writing is becoming a problem. But now, if ChatGPT does it for you, will ChatGPT also talk for you? Will ChatGPT also present it for you? Which is why you have to work on that mindset to know that your words are the means by which you transfer your thoughts, your ideology. So don't say I cannot talk. I'm not really a speaking person. You have to intentionally develop it to the measure where it is needed in your environment, because it is communication, it is writing, the clarity of these expressions that help you connect. Even if I recommend you, you still need to talk, you still need to write, you still need to engage. This is a mindset. If you like, when you're running your own business, that's why many people run mediocre businesses, because they think it's just about making money. No, if you are building a structure, if you are building something that will last, this traits factor into how you build to last, how you build for the long term. For example, in an average, like brilliant private school university, anywhere in the world, they get them to read a lot. So that's why you see that after the class, the lecturer will give them, I don't know what they call those notes, like different layers of this thing, that go and read it, go and expose your mind, go and do like extra to give them context to further buttress what they've learned. What do you think he's trying to do? What do you think that environment facilitates? But some of you came from environment whereby the lecturer doesn't care about just give me what I gave you. He doesn't want to understand how you think. He doesn't want to understand how you process. Because it's in writing clearly, communicating clearly, that is how you groom your critical thinking ability. The ability to refine what you are saying, the ability to refine, to think, to write is one of the ways that you begin to groom your ability to think well. That's why if you find out, if you want to talk, try and write out what you want to talk to know if you're actually thinking clearly. Writing is even harder because you will need to put, vocabularies together. So you need to have this mindset. You can't be talking anyhow. You can't be posting things anyhow. You can't be. You can't. Your taste for excellent communication, writing, speaking. And I see this. I interview coppers. I interview people. Let me give you an example. I was interviewing somebody, and I was trying to fill a customer support role. And I asked the person, so what are the things you took out of school in terms of skills? And the person says, I know how to use Microsoft Word. And I was honestly confused. I'm like, say that again, like, what do you take out of school? I know how to use Microsoft Word. And I'm like, why are you saying that on an interview? Like, in this age, is Microsoft Word, you know how to use Microsoft Word, is what we are using to brag that you know how to do? I'm never going to recommend you for that. Like, why? Like, how do you put that person side by side with their contemporaries in other parts of the world? It shows the level of backwardness and thinking and lack of preparation that happened. Because if you will know that you don't say that type of thing as brag. Life has moved on. Like, knowing MS Word is like brushing your teeth. Like, it's normal. It's not something you talk that, I know how to do this thing. Like, if you don't know how to do it now in this age, regardless of if you are starting an agric business or you are writing for United Nations, if you don't know those things right now, there are minimum requirements for our century. Minimum requirements. And they can be learned. In my class, one of the things we teach is communication skills, how to properly curate words and communicate that to prepare you for executive level. So one of the first roles I had in my life was I worked with a CEO, like, directly. Like, of course, I came out of the first class and I didn't know a lot. I knew many things, but I found out that I didn't know a lot. But thank God I started reading. I started reading about this. And notice where I'm coming from. I'm coming from where I don't know jack. And you see, one of the things we teach in the premium class, and you see me every week. And like I said, we've not started taking students, but we're going to send a form. Maybe some minutes from now, fill the form if you're interested. But we're not started taking students. We're not rushing because we want to. It's going to be we're going to be building. One of the things I found out was, and which we are now started adopting, is teaching life skills. There's one aspect of the coaching that we call life skills. Now, many people do not know that to be and get what you want, you need to have the required life skills to be able to interact, to be able to do the game of life. That life skills is something that a lot of people are not taught. For example, some people are not taught that character is currency. There's a role we are currently trying to hire for. One of the most important things is trust. How do you trust? Like, trust at that point, it's not about your pressing computer, it's currency. So referral, is big for that type of role. But you cannot have trust if you don't have a track record. Which is the reason why, for example, those who don't know how to what's that what they call delay gratification, they want it now. And that's the problem. They want the money now. They want it now. So people, for example, I got an advice. Somebody says, don't misallocate the first 10 years of your career. It's your foundation years. So somebody is saying, I need to eat. I need to do this. I need to do that. and they are entering a role or somewhere that in the next 5 years they are not going to be relevant. There's no prospect. Yeah, instead of them to take that role and still have their goals. And that's the thing. Somebody was asking me, how did I do my first certification? My first certification cost around $1,000. This is as at 2000 and 2018 to 20. Now, what had happened was I was earning 70,000 naira. I was working as an executive assistant. So I've already figured out on campus what I had a flair for. I had a flair for projects. I didn't know it was called projects, but I knew I just liked organizing things. It was just a forte for me. I just liked it. It was later out of school, which is something we also teach in the premium class. And like I said earlier, right, the basic premium class is 5K per month. We have the diamond class. I think I called it, how much I call it for them? I think 50K. I think I have like 4 sessions with those guys every month. Now, one of the things I teach there is most of us, what we will do in life has already showed in school, but you were not paying attention. What's supposed to make you bastard money? You already experienced it on campus, but you experienced it in seed form. You experienced it, those things that you did that you could do for free and nobody will. Those were your tickets. It's just that you did not know, you didn't have the right environment, the coaching to help you connect that thing with value. It was later I found out that what people call arrange this is what they call project management. I'm like, project management. So it was then I started Googling. I remember I went to Google myself. I saw the course. I said I have to join a community. I have to do that. I paid for the first training in about six months because I started saving the money. It was 80,000. 80,000 naira was my 1 month salary as at then. So I bought the course. That was on the project management course, which is going to lead to the next point I'm going to lead us to. So it was just a training for when I started doing research about project management. They call that certification PMP. It was later I knew that, PMP is by PMI USA, which is the next principle. When we're talking about world-class mindset. See, the next thing that will help you, don't think local. Don't think local in anything you are doing. And what do I mean? Always look for the highest point of whatever you want to do and set it before you. Always do for if there's any industry, if there's any certification, if there's any this thing, ask yourself what is the highest and make that for that particular frame time, make that the target. Now, what that does for you is it pushes you, it bends you. You are clear with where you are going. Now, this education is like $1,000, but I don't have the money because I'm earning 70K. But I know that before I need to do that, I need to do training of 80K. And I was working on the island. So I saved like 6 months. I saved 80K, 6 months, small money to do the training of 80K. Only to find out that by the time I did that 80K brought me into a community of where I was meeting people who their companies sent from Nigerian Stock Exchange, from First Bank. And me, I was just in my first year as a student, as a graduate. And I'm like, oh, shoot. So this 80K is not just only to come and learn this education. I'm having access to some people that there is no way in this world I would have met them, because in terms of experience, in terms of skill, in terms of everything, they know it more than me. I started learning project management. So they taught me project management from scratch. Notice my exam is still the one I want to get. The certificate I want to get is like $1,000. After I did that, the next thing was I started Googling, do they have a community? Do they have a community? Notice I'm buttressing the point of you must have the mindset of what's the highest thing in this field. That's why our mission, notice we're not just training students, is to train young minds to become industry leaders. Our target is in another 5 years, in another 7 years, some of you listening to us, some of the people in my premium coaching will be the VP this, will be CEO that, will be this, and we will be part of their journey. That's the target. Industry leaders. So you need to you need to have, and see, you don't need You don't need money to research what's the highest point of this thing I'm doing. What's the highest point of this thing I'm doing? And you can, somebody taught me something, for example, just go to LinkedIn. Like this one I'm giving you is actually $1,000. What I'm about to tell you, if I want to put money on it, it's $1,000 because I knew the training I got it from. He said, go to LinkedIn. Should I tell you people this thing? Should I tell you? I'm feeling like it's for my premium students. It's for premium guys. It's for premium students. Nah, it's too practical. Like it will get you result now. It's too practical. Like was so helpful. I remember that class. So helpful. Right? It helps you. What I'm about to say, it helps your gap, and we call it gap analysis. Gap analysis. So what does that mean? There is nothing you want right now. Please listen closely as we start wrapping up. There is nothing you want right now or you want to be right now that somebody has not become or doesn't have. So from a career point of view, I'll take that as an example. What LinkedIn helps you to do is to see people's trajectory and track record. So if you want to know the next important thing to have and become, go to the set of people who are already living in that reality and look for what they have done. So you have what you are currently have. They are there. Then the next thing is, okay, there's a gap between me and that. Find out what they know, the certifications they have. Are you listening to me? The skills they have, the communities they are in, the types of school they are going to, and replicate it. While you might not have money for the school, maybe somebody went to Harvard or MIT where they are paying maybe $150,000 a year. Is that time you will find out that there is something called Harvard Business Online because of your researching, because you know there's a gap. This is one of the things that made me realize when I wanted to do my latest HR certification. I asked the certificate company that was helping me prepare. I told the lady there, I said, I want to do a certification, I've done so years as a HR practitioner. I have previous background in project management, yada 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 and guys, And I said, oh, I would like to do this course based on my this. Oh, yes, you can do this. Then all of a sudden, I just realized, just remember this principle: aiming for the best in the industry, in the category. Like this is the category. This is what I'm going to. And I asked her, I said, wait, what's the hardest exam? Like, what's the hardest exam in this? Oh, somebody say, like, who gave you that mind? It's because of these things I'm telling you. I asked. Notice, I don't know that shit. I don't know it. I don't have an idea of this. I just asked her, what's the hardest exam? And she said, it's GPHRO. The pass rate is 50%. Like, you can either pass or fail. It is the most expensive and all of that. Knowing what I know, because the mindset, one of the mindset that I've built over the years that I found out is you have to put yourself in discomforting positions, in uncomfortable positions to grow. Now, many of us want to go to the next, but you don't want to get out of that difficult position. Whereas your next there's an obstacle, either a knowledge or something you need to. So I told her, give me the hardest one, because I knew that I needed something that will pressure me, that will stress me. Of course, at this time, I could afford the money, and all of that, compared to my first years, where I had to save. I saved 2 years. Let me finish my story. Then I Googled a community. That's the first time I went to a project management community. Big people. I was the smallest. I remember. I was the smallest. That's when I found out that I can serve in that local private project management community. One of the relationships I have today with the woman that is in UK was the first woman I met. So do you see how serendipity, as it were, good things are just colliding? Because I was now a member. So from then, and I found out that you need to pay to be a member of PMI Nigeria and PMI Global. I now dared to take out of savings again. I'm supposed to be preparing for my exam. I now pay for PMI Global. Little did I know that the moment you pay for that, you have a discount to do for my exam. That's how 2 years later I paid for my exam. Of course, delaying gratification. Like this time, my mom was not sending me money again. Nobody was sending me money. Now, what's the blessing there? The principle there is one, you must aim for the highest part in the industry and start from where you are. But one of the reasons why people get into jobs and they forget where they are going to is because of comfort. So now they're paying you 300,000, but you have not gotten, that's not your goal. There's this movie you guys should watch, Men of Honor. It's one of my best movies, Men of Honor. The guy did not stop until he became master. What do they call it? There's a name for it, master something. He had gotten, because number one, he had to overcome the black issue. Then he had become a captain and all of that. I remember he was rocking his wife in that December period and like well, okay, now you can earn enough to take care of your family and all of that. You know, the guy said, no, I'm not going to stop until I make master. There's something they call it. It's in Navy, master something. I'm like, why do you need this? He was in the midst of becoming that master something. He lost his leg. But he became the first person in history, Black American, to attain that position, because of course they now give him another leg, you know, all those robot legs and all of that. Why did I go there? You need to. These are the mindsets that will make you, certain companies attract you and you attract certain companies. The types of businesses you want to build, you need to have these types of mindset. Even if you're starting chin. Notice chin is the beginning, but your sales capacity, your business building capacity, your capacity to build structure, those are the things you are taking to the future. So in another 5 years, you might not necessarily own a bakery, but those skills, those things would have transmuted into the type of person you become. These are some of the habits that are world class. And what the meaning of world class means that even if you are in New York, even if you are in Singapore, even if you are anywhere, it applies across board. And these are some of the things that high value companies are looking to get from students, from fresh graduates. Somebody who has taken, for example, if I want to do a graduate training program right now, is somebody who has started working in that part, who the opportunity will make sense for, who has started learning that thing, who has gone online. See ChatGPT, free. That thing can teach you literally, I don't want to say anything. It can teach you a lot. And those are your tools. YouTube, ChatGPT, Google. Those are your tools. From zero knowledge on something. I said something on the last webinar. I said, curate your social media to teach you. Curate your social media feed to teach you. So that as you are laughing, as you are spending that 2-3 hours on social media, you are learning because you have intentionally created it. Don't be the masses that they are passing ideologies into. One more time, I would like to mention, I don't have my book close to me, but there are 2 books that really help. One is Academic Excellence Demystified. It's a book that I wrote for students, and there's also Top 10 Things You Must Know as an Undergraduate Before You Leave School. Those 2 books, I'll drop the link on the replay so that you can access them. They will help you. They will prepare you. Notice our premium class covers academic excellence for those who are still in school, covers career upgrade, carries business skill build up, carries life skills. So we are teaching this combined. So as you are earning, as you are going, you are being trained. You are being trained. And you cannot, that's the thing, you cannot compare somebody who is always training, always learning, always upskilling, always learning something new, always doing that. If you combine that, if 2 people are praying at the same level, and one person is always on the learning part, always reading, learning, always like pushing, versus somebody who, yeah, it's good now. Yeah, they're all praying, no? They're all praying. But one person is learning faster. Opportunities will come more for the learning person, for the reading person. Because it's in those reading, you will now begin to take steps. You begin to, oh, there's this seminar, let's go. Oh, there's this idea, let's act on it. You'll not even be afraid to fail. Before you know it, your geographical, location will change. Your current geographical location will not be worthy of you again. The type of people you'll be speaking to, the type of companies that will be attracting you, the types of grants and all of those things you'll be seeing will be changing. Because like I was teaching yesterday somewhere, the market forces recognize when somebody is pushing and growing. You might be saying, but sir, where I come from is just time. And these are some of the things that we teach in our premium classes. In our next session, I'll bring 1 or 2 people to talk about their testimonials. They've been with me for a while I was doing all of this for free and all of that. They've been with me. So we've tested it again and again and again. So this is 4 minutes. I don't know if anyone has a question. Let me just use the advantage to take that. If there's any question, while I get the links for you, if you have a specific question, let me see if I can take that. Even though this live will be ended in about 4 minutes. If you have a question, let's see if you can drop that before we go. We have a community of about 600 people, 700. And they see these things, they watch it again. Some people have been there, they don't want to leave. I want some people to leave safe. The free community, like let them leave so that new people can come. But people are not leaving. So the community just keeps growing. We're targeting, maybe we'll hit like 1,000, by December. But do you have any question? That's the link to the seller link is the link to our book. Then the community link will take you directly in case you have not joined. And then you can also join Gradshift on LinkedIn for those of us who use LinkedIn. We also plan on doing some videos for us, down into the year, into next year. Very, very straightforward videos. Does anyone have any specific question about some of these? We cannot cover this. I'm looking at my notes now. There are other things to talk about here, right? So I'm saying, for example, I see a mindset to quickly have is an understanding where your talent, passion, energy, and where there's the economic value matches. It's like a flow chart. You need to understand where it matches, because what that helps you to do is it helps you to know which opportunities to take and which opportunities not to take. It helps you to know the type of company that really you need right now. Some people are looking for remote work, but really what they need right now is the work that will discipline them, that will make them go to work, sit down under a hard boss. But they don't know. So you leave school, the first things you want to chop life. You want to sit down at home. Some people don't like me for that. But some people have never worked in an office, so they don't even know discipline. That's why their line manager is pursuing them. And they said, I'll go and start my own thing. I'll start my own business. Whereas the habits or the mindset of seeing things through, they don't have it. They don't know how to start one thing and see it through. It's a mindset. It's a world-class mindset. The mindset of knowing when to stop. When to stop. There are certain things that we call it sunk cost fallacy. You are just doing it because you are feeling like, I've been doing this thing. I've been doing this. If I stop it now, you look like I've lost. But by data, if you analyze how long I've been doing it and what is not coming, you are losing. It's called sunk cost fallacy. Knowing when to stop. There's so much I can give us, for this mindset. Is it about resilience? Let me quickly touch that. About resilience. Many will say, I work under pressure. I interview people, I work under pressure. You work under pressure and you could not do assignments. You have to dub. You dub every time you dub. They say, share a sheet of paper. You are dubbing. You don't understand pressure. That's why in some interviews, in some graduate trainings, what they do is they put you under scenarios and they cut off people. I told myself something, and I will close with this. I told myself something. I said, while I was a student, I said, by the time I'm done reading and growing and pushing, I want to be able to stand side by side with the students who went to the best university in Africa. And by the time we're having conversations, they will not know that I went to one state school like that. And I started reading, exposing myself, reading, taking the steps of some of the things I'm reading, of course, praying, Then one day I walk, I didn't even know. Somebody said, how are you now? Like this. And I told her, I went to this school. I'm like, it's a lie. I thought you went to Covenant University. I'm like, me? I don't go to Covenant University. He says it's a lie. This, like, I'm like, all of a sudden, I just remember that goal I set for myself. Because of course, that person went to Covenant also. Or has friends who went to go, like, oh shoot, all of a sudden now this person is thinking that I'm in that class. I was not surprised when one of my closest friends has his doctorate now in Covenant University. So without knowing, these are some of, so what happens is, as you begin to have this mindset, you begin to attract the opportunities, the people, you will just know the market forces will reward it. It doesn't have a choice, right? So one more time, we'll send the link. Let me see if I can push that link right now. In case you have a waiting, this is a waiting list. In case you want to join our premium circle, like we said, we're not taking students yet, but we're already pushing. We have some registrations already. If you want to join our premium circle, we have that. Our diamond circle is roughly about 50K a month. But for those who we just want to do subscription on the go and all of that, I'm trying to get maybe even to slash for some students, because most of us buy data here, right? Students buy data, so students must have money. So maybe get it to down like a 3K or something. But right now it's 5K minimum. But I'm not promising anyways. But we are not taking students yet. But you have to join the waiting list. All right, everyone. I hope this session was rewarding for you. If you are also watching the replay, please take notes. I hope it was rewarding for you. There's so much more in our premium class where we talk about academic excellence. We talk about career coaching. We'll bring people to talk on business. We bring people to talk on life skills, which a lot of students, especially from this climb of the world, sort of like lack. We're talking crisscross across digital, industry leaders. Just talk about it like across board. All right, everyone. I hope you had a good time. It's already 1 hour, and we're coming to the end of this particular broadcast. As we say here at Gradshift, we're turning young minds into industry leaders. And I wish you the very, 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 very best. Become your best and stay good. Bye.